Okay, well, my name's Steve Arthur. I'm president of Ryokan College. We're in the midst of getting nationally accredited. All we do is psychology, and I'm addressing both the review for the reauthorization of the board, issue number 2, and also what's in the bill now. My next step is to approach the politicians. And that is the item calling that all schools be regionally accredited whose graduates are going to be licensed as psychologists. It would have been nice if our relationship over the years had been less adversarial, if the board members had understood the type of student that attends Ryokan by noting the small niche of students that we serve instead of the board trying to stomp us out of business or make us conform to APA standards. After all, the Ryokan's not a threat to the APA. It's not a threat to regionally accredited schools. And AB 48 passed in 1998 assured there would be no more colleges like Ryokan on the board's list of approved schools. Instead, the board could have taken the position of accepting our school because we provide an opportunity for students no one serves. The older, mature, 44-year-old who understands psychology because he or her has had life experience. I interviewed a student last week who works at the prison at Tehachapi. She's a licensed clinical social worker. She's a mother of 2 children, and she wants to get her to become a licensed psychologist because she can earn $120,000 in the first year, $150,000 in the second year. She has no plans of leaving her job. She enjoys it. She has no plans of leaving Tehachapi. If she tried to go for a regionally accredited school, it'd take her 5 to 7 years. It costs $100,000 to $120,000, something she cannot afford. Our program, with what her status is as a licensed clinical psychologist, $30,000. And she doesn't have to leave her Tehachapi to a big city that has regionally accredited schools. It's not going to take her 5 to 7 years. So who stands up for her? Because by the time she gets licensed, she will have had more education and more supervised hours than most licensed psychologists. And that's the niche of students we serve. And there's nobody who does it better than you, than us. In the review...
Sir, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Hold on for a moment.
We're not able to comment on anything that's said at this point.
Thank you.
In the review, you mentioned about passing rates. In this discussion about the importance of the passing rates, did anybody bring up what the chief of the Bureau of Private Post-Secondary said when this was offered to her as a viable concern? She said it doesn't matter. You've got 2 exams. It doesn't matter what the passing rates are. You could have looked at Ryokan's record, according to your figures, we're over 7 years. We had more graduates become licensed psychologists than any of the 275 regionally accredited schools. The board could have said, well, they must be doing something right because they're passing all these other regionally accredited schools. But nobody mentioned that, I imagine. Nobody discussed it. Nobody called any of the schools, and you've got the list, there's only like 6 schools. I think only 3 of them are now viable. And why you're going after us, and you members who are the public members, why are you being susceptible to not looking out to this niche of students? If you make them go to regionally accredited school, you're cutting off the careers, these hopes of this whole niche of people. I don't think that's looking out for the consumer. It's certainly not ensuring quality. They chose to go to our school because of our reputation and our record. And I think it's unfair to just try and stomp us out of business without consulting us. That's all I have to say.
attorney, and I'm the person who drafted the proposed complaint. Just so everyone's clear on it, nothing's filed, nothing will be filed without consultation with your counsel, anything else like that. And I'm really here in an unusual position for a lawyer because I'm really trying to be here to be courteous and just to let you know the situation that we have. On a personal level, I've been practicing for 47 years, and I've devoted most of my most recent practice to nonprofits and public service work, and in fact, a significant percentage of my work recently has been involved in representing families who lost paintings in the Holocaust. If you saw the movie Women in Gold, I was on the cutting room floor. I was Randy Shumbert's partner in that one, as a reality. I've represented Ryokan for some years. I believe them to be a professional institution. I believe that Mr. Arthur has the public's best interest in mind, and I understand and have tried to express in the complaint, which is really the only document I had a chance to write, the historic reasons why Ryokan is important, the special niche with the single parents and the persons, as Mr. Arthur described, who are looking to be psychologists or be psychologically trained. We've talked about all kinds of programs in terms of international peace and introducing the best aspects of psychology, which you all are dedicated to around the world. As far as I'm not here really to discuss legal issues, and it wouldn't be fair to the board and its counsel to do so, because as I understand it, you're not allowed to get back to me with regard to any remarks. I am perfectly willing and happy and encourage further communication about this before anybody talks about the legal arena. And normally I would have actually been in touch with Ms. Marks, I believe it is, who's the legal counsel, but all this was pretty much under the gun, and Mr. Arthur asked me to just set forth those legal positions. As far as the legal positions are concerned, they're not, in a sense, complicated. We think that it's a violation of due process, and to some extent, potential violation of equal protection, to be enacting this amendment, to be approving it at this stage. We explain it, and we rest our positions on both the United States Constitution, and those of you lawyers know that there are similar, maybe the rest of you do as well, there are similar provisions in the state constitutions. So what I wanted to say was, you know, whatever you may think of lawyers and the law and people who are, you know, representing other groups that are before you, I really sincerely am here to give you the human side of this and the historic side, and would welcome the opportunity to further clarify it later on. And so I personally apologize for thrusting a proposed complaint on everybody at this hour, but I think maybe I've explained the circumstances. So it's nice to meet you. I'm hopeful we can have a positive resolution for the people of California. Thank you so much.
Thank you.